resource, but just for our kids, basically what we want to do is just to kind of reset, just have them think about doing things the right way. So firstly, what we want to think about is the line that they're going to be lined up against, okay, and how they're going to line up. So there's basically, they have to understand the proper stick position. So to understand the proper stick position is kind of similar to taking a shot. So you have to have it in your right hand. So a good line of guidance is basically from elbow to thumb for the left hand. Okay, so this is Harrison's stick. He kind of puts tape where he knows he wants to shoot or do face-offs. The second thing is you can't have your right hand up on the plastic, so you want to have your hand here. Okay, and you can either do more of a traditional grip or a motorcycle, depending on what's your fancy. So those are the two things, and I think the kids just need to kind of get comfortable with which one's better for them. Then we have to be 100% behind the line, and there's two basic stances. You can either be in a standing stance. So if you're in a standing stance, you want to have your left foot basically on the line or close to the line, and your right foot a little bit behind. When we go down, we want to have our weight equally distributed between our hands and our feet, so that if we let go of the stick, we're not going to fall over, or we're not going to fall back. Okay, this position is usually good for shorter people. Taller people, we want to get down on one knee so that we can actually use our leverage to get underneath the opponent. Okay, so that's kind of what I like to do. When we get on one knee, you don't want to be back here. Okay, you have to be athletic. So you almost want to think of yourself as a sprinter in a starting block. And so, you want to have that left foot here, the right foot here. Okay, so now I have my hands set, I have my feet set. And an important thing is we want our hands inside our hips here. We don't want them outside. If you have them outside, you have no leverage. So you want them inside. So whether it's motorcycle or traditional, okay? So when we haven't practiced this, so we'll just have them get into the good position, and then for a couple minutes, we'll just have them go back and forth, chopping. So this left hand stays still, the right hand goes back and forth as quick as you can. You can see I'm about as quick as molasses on that, okay? So after we have them do that, then what I want them to do is to practice. There's two basic hand motions. So the second phase is to practice the hand motion. So what we do with our left hand is, it's basically, there's different motions, but the most basic one is called a 12 to 1. And so if we're at 12 o'clock here, we punch with our right hand. I don't know if you can see that. Let's let me move over a little bit. So we punch with our right hand, okay? And then our left hand. And then our right hand is basically to clamp and crush. So you don't want to just clamp like this with your hand behind the line. You want to actually move it forward. So then what we do is we pop our hands forward, okay? And so we just kind of, as we've done in practice before, we kind of practice that. So we go from 12 to 1. Sorry about that. So we go from, say, 12 to 1, okay? All right. So just have them do that several times. So 12 to 1, okay? And then once they get the hang of that, then what we'll have them do is they can practice a pinch and pop themselves. So a pinch and pop to yourself is basically the most ideal and expeditious thing, which is where you punch with your hands and you pinch and you pop it up to yourself. Okay, now you're down the field. All right. So have them do that for a minute or two. And then that's not always going to happen. So if we have our hands in good position, we pinch, but we don't get that pop, we get countered. So we want to practice doing is practice our mobility, moving in an offensive manner. Okay. All right. And so when we do that, we still have the opportunity to punch it out to space. All right. So have them do that. And then the next step would be to do that, but plus have them have a partner that basically lets them get the clamp, but then makes them get the ground ball. And then the last phase would be to do it with a partner with equal pressure. So that's kind of the progression. I know we've kind of gone over it before, but really the big things are focusing on the stance and balance, where your hands are in the stick, where your elbows are, the punch forward to one, and then the clamp with the right hand, because that really sets you up for success. Okay, so if you can do all that, so we have our hands here. Okay, so now I have the ball on my stick, and I can kind of control the flow of play. The other thing I would just touch on in these drills are, we've gone over this before, but basically if you're a wing midi, okay, and you're on the left side of the face-off man, so most face-off men are going to stroke this way, so if you're on our face-off man's left side, then you want to be on the defensive half on the left side. If you're on the other side, you want to be on essentially the offensive half. So what would happen is, if my opponent beats me, this man on my left-hand side should run basically halfway between the restraining box and me. Okay, so I should say that's really the defensive side, I should have said. But what that allows him to do is basically prevent a fast break. If the ball pops out this way, he can come and get it. This midfielder on this side is, and I should have said that before, sorry, on our offensive side. So if I happen to pinch it and pop it, so I have my stick here. Okay, sorry, so now he's an outlet pass for me. Okay, so to reiterate that, just to go over this with the kids, the midfielder to my left is going towards the defensive side. He's going halfway between the goal and the restraining box to prevent a fast break, and to either, if I pop it out to my defensive side, or the offensive player pops it out to his offensive side is there. And the midi to the right is going to my offensive side, in case I either pop it out to my offensive side as an outlet, or basically just to serve as the ground ball person outside. So anyway, that's it. I'll see you guys tomorrow. And if anything isn't clear, just feel free to ask questions. Have a good night.